Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight Weekend Edition. I'm LaDawn Davis. As always, it's great to have you joining us. Weather topping the news this evening as Tropical Storm Isaac exits the Bahamas into Florida. Overcast conditions were experienced across New Providence today. However, the Met Office's 6 o'clock advisory indicated that all warnings for the Bahamas have been discontinued and all clear has now been issued. Meteorologist Greg Thompson joins us live in studio with the latest details. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, LaDawn, and good evening, everybody. Of course, you mentioned all clear has been given. All the warnings have been discontinued for the islands, as well as the Turks and Caicos Islands. The 5 p.m. position places Isaac at 24.2 degrees north, 82.3 west. Winds are still at 60 miles per hour, and its movement is towards the west-northwest at around 60 miles per hour, roughly about 40 miles to the southwest of the Florida Keys. And we expect this system to continue to push towards the northwest and out of our area. Taking a look at our forecast track of the system, 6 p.m. position places that, just as I mentioned, to the southwest of the Florida Keys. Tomorrow morning it'll be slightly to the west of and northwest of that area, and then getting into the Gulf of Mexico where there's lots of warm water. The system has the potential to develop into a Category 2 hurricane before it even makes landfall on the Gulf Coast near Alabama and the Louisiana area. And of course, you know, those folks remember Katrina, which did quite a bit of damage to that system, to that area, pardon me, over the past couple of days. Radar imagery of this system, some nice rain bands moving across the northwest Bahamas. You see a red box pop up there. That's a tornado watch box for the southern portion of Florida, which occurred earlier today. That has since been discontinued. And if you notice, just to the north of the coast of western Cuba, you see that spin there, that counterclockwise spin. That is the eye of the system making its way towards the northwest and into the Florida Keys. And as I mentioned, some showers and thunderstorms will be with us tonight through tomorrow as a long trailing mass of air, tropical moisture associated with this system continues to pull through the island. So some showers and thunderstorms still expected across portions of the Bahamas, but the southeast Bahamas should be gradually clearing, as well as the central Bahamas by tomorrow, and then by tomorrow afternoon into late evening, we expect the northwest Bahamas to be clearing up quite nicely as the system continues to pull away from us. LaDawn?
Thanks, Greg. Andros continued to battle fierce winds from the tropical storm. However, they're also dealing with an unexpected turn of events. Last night, while many of you were asleep, ZNS first broke the story about a group of Haitian migrants who were a part of a boatload left in ruins stranded on Lisbon Key overnight. Our Keishla Adderley and Rodney Davis are in Andros, sent us some pictures of the apprehension conducted yesterday. Keishla informed us just moments ago that she was in Mangrove Key most of the day and was able to hear the heart-wrenching story from the Haitians looking for a better way of life. We'll have that story in a later newscast. Well, Foreign Affairs and Immigration Minister Fred Mitchell confirming first to ZNS News that those illegal Haitians found in Mangrove Key, Andros, Saturday could be repatriated as early as tomorrow. Minister Mitchell noted that 150 illegal Haitian migrants are being housed at a temporary detention center and a warehouse dock in Mangrove Key after being apprehended in Lisbon Key. The immigration minister claims it's a tough situation. However, he thanks central and local government representatives in Andros, as well as police, defense, and immigration officers for their efforts.
Interviews with some of the people on the boat suggest that the boat left Cape Haitian about 7 days ago with 200 people on board. The suggestion is that several of them hurled themselves overboard and several drowned on the way here. So there's a search and rescue operation that is being conducted with the assistance of the Americans.
Immigration Director Jack Thompson confirmed to us moments ago that 181 Haitians are now in custody. He also noted that 3 immigration and 3 Defense Force officers are traveling to Andros to assist their counterparts on the ground with securing those illegal migrants. What a difference a day makes. That's what residents in Inagua are saying tonight as the light rain and winds experienced yesterday from Tropical Storm Isaac are gone. Our Julian Gibson is stationed in Inagua and informed us that the sun was shining all day. Bahamas Electricity Corporation work crews restored power and water, and life is now back to normal on that island. Tropical Storm Isaac provided major utility companies in the country with the opportunity to test their hurricane preparation plans. Meantime, Lynden Pendling International Airport dealt with backlogs brought on by the weather system. Clint Watson tells us more.
If you were out and about in the capital Sunday morning, you would have witnessed evidence that Tropical Storm Isaac wasn't too far away. Broken limbs from trees, debris in the streets, and flooding in some areas of the inner city were spotted. In fact, driving visibility was hindered by the downpour of rain and strong winds. The Potters Key dock was filled with mail boats as officials took safe harbor until the all clear was given. Over at BTC's Command Center, Senior Manager for Public Relations, Jerome Sawyer, worked with teams to gather a nationwide assessment of how the network held up. By and large, he was pleased that there were no major concerns.
We only had 2 reports of outages in Kemps Bay, Andros, and that was due to a power outage there. We had a similar report of a power outage in Ragged Island, which caused the cell service in Ragged Island to go down. In Andros, about 75 landline customers were affected. So overall, the network has held up extremely well, and we are extremely pleased with what has happened up to this point.
Sawyer also happy BTC crews were able to test their hurricane plan to ensure its workability.
We were able to have key meetings by conference calls with all of our Family Island stakeholders, all of the stakeholders here in New Providence. And really, once the storm hits, it's a wait and see situation where we're constantly in contact with the various stakeholders in these islands. They report back to us any problems that they may be encountering, any issues with the network. Of course, we also have redundancies. So should the network itself go down, we're still able to keep in contact through use of satellite phones.
Operations at the Lynden Pendling International Airport ceased from 10 p.m. Saturday until about 7:45 Sunday morning, while Nassau Airport Development Company officials maintain that the actual facility never closed. All flight operations were suspended by civil aviation. Air traffic controller supervisor Brian Wilson spoke to us by telephone.
Primarily is when it becomes unsafe for aircraft to operate. Now, there's nothing definitive that's written on that. We've been operating basically when the winds are steady around 35-40 miles an hour, we would suspend operations in the interest of safety. Most of the weather, again, is drifting off towards the northwest in this vicinity, and with the exception of Andros and Bimini, as far as I'm aware, all the airports in the country are operational.
Bahamas Air's first flight left up after 11 o'clock this morning. And over the domestic section, many of the smaller charters, well, their flights didn't leave until later in the afternoon. All of this because of severe weather conditions throughout the archipelago of islands. So you've been here pretty much most part of the morning.
Right.
Do you have any concerns about waiting this long, or you pretty much understand?
I understand. The better we can do nothing about that.
Where are you headed?
Sunsala.
Now, for the greater part of the day, for those flights that were canceled, ticket agents were busy rebooking passengers on other flights. In many cases, they were asking people to check online to find out whether their flights were canceled or to try and rebook them themselves before coming down to the airport. By afternoon, many of those flights were going out, and although some delayed because of airports closed in the United States of America, many of them were still operating as normal, while some may have canceled flights. What were you told by Bahamas Air officials?
They told us that first the flight was delayed, and they said that it depends on how the pilots feel. If they feel comfortable, they will fly out, and apparently they don't, and so we have to return tomorrow morning at 6:30.
At the end of the day, officials here at the airport say they're up and running, but it's up to passengers to ensure that their flights are flying. Clint Watson, ZNS News.
The National Emergency Management Agency's Emergency Operations Center has been partially activated since Thursday when Tropical Storm Isaac posed a threat to parts of the Bahamas. That's when Met officials issued a tropical storm watch for the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Southeast Bahamas. When our news team visited NEMA's Operations Center this afternoon, we were informed that officials had been working around the clock gathering information from various islands, in particular the northern Bahamas, Andros, and Inagua. So far, reports are that weather conditions have not caused significant problems or any disturbances. Today marks 12 years since the death of the father of the nation, Sir Lynden Pendling. That story and more when the Bahamas Tonight continues.